My name is Chris Grant and I am the LawTech Director at Barclays Eagle Labs. I'm a recovering lawyer, spent a majority of my career working in-house in legal ops, modernising legal in-house teams, driving efficiencies, managing external spend, and also, importantly, looking at ways to innovate. And that's very much what I now do, focusing on LawTech within the Eagle Labs. And that's what we're going to talk to you about today is LawTech and legal innovation, particularly what's happening in the UK and some ideas around how you might be interacting with it or could be interacting with it to do more. And also for anybody that's from startups, some hints as to what you could be doing. First of all, let me tell you a little bit more about the Eagle Labs. We're a network now of 26 labs up and down the UK, all focused on various pieces of technology and startup opportunities. We've got one that is dedicated to LawTech, which is the one that I look after in Notting Hill Gate. We've got currently 21 residents, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. But we also have 18 partners who help us in what we're doing, and very much the incubator is there to help to develop these great ideas that are coming through in terms of how we can do things differently from a law tech perspective, how we can bring efficiencies to the way that we work, and ultimately how law firms and lawyers can provide better services to their clients. We work with a number of law firms, we work with the Law Society, we also interact with Ministry of Justice and a number of universities as well. So it's quite a strong ecosystem that, as you can imagine, really helps to get a bit of power and drive behind what we're doing. We want to drive positive industry solutions through LawTech. We want to develop thought leadership across the industry and promote pan-industry collaboration, because I think that's really key to helping drive forward innovation and doing things in a new way, having people work together. We want to support and progress innovative thinking amongst legal and legal industry leaders and provide opportunities for our partners to benefit directly from the innovation solutions that we have within the lab. And for our lab residents, we want to give them the opportunity to run proof of concept and also interact with people to really help to refine their products. There's a range of technologies that are available in the lab at the moment, and you'll see this across the whole LawTech industry. There's plenty of things going on. There's AI, there's doc automation, contract automation, workflow, task automation, matter management, and things like access to justice, all of which have their part to play in terms of developing the industry and doing things differently. So why is LawTech important? There's definitely an opportunity. The global LawTech market is valued at about $15.9 billion right now, and it's huge and growing. In the UK, up until about May 2020, 300 million had been raised by LawTech startups. And we know that the adoption of new technologies will increase productivity, so why would we not get involved? And if we look at illegal, there's plenty of challenges that are facing the industry. According to the Law Society recent research, LawTech is probably where fintech was about 5 years ago. So we're really starting to ramp things up, and we're seeing more problems being faced by the way that we interact, and certainly within the industry, particularly through COVID, but also there's a real change in terms of the expectations that our clients have and those users of legal services have of the law firms that they work with. One of the things that I was heavily involved with before I moved into the Eagle Lab space was managing our panel of law firms, and one of the first things we had to do was reset expectations in terms of what we wanted to get from our firms. So things like thought leadership, value for money, collaboration and teamwork, and working not just cohesively with our own legal function but also with other law firms that we interacted with. We also introduced innovation and being able to do things in a different way and finding out how we could find greater efficiencies in terms of the way that our law firms supported us. And we soon found it was a kind of a grey area because we didn't really know what we were talking about, and I don't think the firms certainly knew how to respond to that. So we had to do a good bit of work, which is kind of what's taken me to where I am now, to really develop that innovation idea and think about what those opportunities could look like. So what's happening right now, and again, I think COVID has really accelerated the need to do things in a different way. So we're seeing an increase in technology, and it's not just the ideas that are coming through, we're also seeing a maturing of that technology that is available. These tech companies have now been around for quite a while and started to really refine and develop what they have so that it becomes a little more plug and play. And certainly so what we've seen within the lab is the startups that we interact with get the opportunity to work with our partners, so work with the in-house legal function, work with some of the law firms that we also have on board, and therefore are working with the people that are going to be using their tools. I think one of the biggest challenges there's always been with bringing new tech on board is it never quite fits the bill. There's a lot of work to do to make it do what you want it to do. The more that we've had people interact with our startups, the closer we get to technology being almost plug and play. There's an increase in the development of that technology that's not just focused on individual pieces of how we do law or thinking about purely just the contract automation thing or working on specific types of law or contracts. There's a broadening out, which means we are seeing stuff that's actually playing in the legal ops area. So how do you manage your panel of external law firms? How do you do your true workflow and manage the demands that you have on, certainly from an in-house perspective, your in-house team? But importantly, what that starts to do is give you the ability to bolt on all the other technologies, because it's overwhelming. There's no doubt about it. And anybody that is looking at how to bring tech in through the door is how do you make the right decisions about what to use and how do you integrate it? And we're starting to see products that almost form the backbone of certainly the legal function or a legal ops team or a law firm that provides this backbone that you can then start to bolt all the technologies on. So to bring that to life, you build a portal so that, as certainly within Barclays, we have the front office and the business that are requiring legal services, they go through a portal. They can then start to either self-serve or be connected to a doc automation tool or be connected to an external lawyer or be connected to an internal lawyer. It all starts to be managed and in a more automated way, and you plug in the right technologies at the right time. There's a real increase in the engagement of law firms who are all looking at new ways of working and looking to offer new things to their clients. And I think an important thing to pull out there is being mindful that the technology that law firms are looking to use isn't going to be what differentiates them from the competitors. Certainly from our perspective, it's still about service delivery. So how you use those tools to bring a greater efficiency to the way that you work with your clients becomes more important. And law firms are doing a lot of that. So there's plenty of looking at how to either build their own technologies to therefore use with their clients, acquire new technologies and invest in new ones. There's a real increase in collaboration. I touched on that at the beginning. If we really want to see acceleration around the adoption of technology, there's real merit in terms of people coming together to help us to do that. If you've got a group of firms that are certainly working with their clients on a common industry problem, you're sharing risk, you're sharing cost, and you're looking at how you can accelerate things in terms of finding a solution. We held an innovation consortium within Barclays, so worked with a group of our panel firms to find efficiencies in the way that we worked. There was also the Global Legal Hackathon, which happened just through the course of this year, looking at how we could bring solutions to our COVID impacted industry. And actually what was interesting there was seeing a group of our firms come together with Barclays Legal, our Eagle Lab and players in the industry to work on problems such as e-signatures and how do we finally once and for all embed them so that they can be used, because we need to right now more than ever. We're seeing significant investment coming from a range of different places. In the UK, the Ministry of Justice have stepped forward and put money into LawTech, and the LawTech panel UK are delivering upon that. They're focused on a sandbox, so creating an R&D development area that we can start to test some of these technologies and also share data. There's a training, because we recognise that we need to focus on how we train the lawyers for the future and also train people on how to use new technologies. There's also bits around dispute resolution. And again, this is interesting because it's industry-wide activities that are happening, so doing more for the greater good. And also you see law firms starting to create their own labs and focus on that LawTech piece. A&O Fuse, Mishcon de Rea, they all have their own labs. And as I mentioned, we've got a partnership group that have joined our lab to help to leverage those. So I guess question you might all have is, what do you do with all of that? How do you move forward, and what should you be doing in terms of thinking about technology? First and foremost, I think one of the most important pieces is making sure that you're listening to your client, understanding what it is that they want from you, and having a clear view as to what their expectations are, because then you can start to translate that into your plans for the future, and particularly what your strategic plan should be. and keep that dialogue going. Don't just take a kind of download of information, go away and create something and then deliver. Test it. Keep on having that dialogue going backwards and forwards. Having a plan is so important. Changes don't necessarily happen overnight, and they certainly don't happen by accident. So you have to really focus on how you're going to deliver that. We know that within legal, there is this mindset challenge. We need to unlock the way that we work. We are typically risk averse. We want everything to be absolutely perfect. That's right from a lawyer's perspective. You know, it's what we want to do. It's what we need to deliver to our clients. But we need to think about doing that in a different way if we're going to really, truly embrace change and do it in the right way. That collaboration piece, absolutely important, but it isn't second nature to law firms. But there is real merit in working together to solve some of the problems that you're facing. And as you have those conversations and you do start to reach out to a wider community, you'll find that more and more people are struggling with the same thing. So why would you not get together to try and solve that solution or find that solution? Getting comfortable with failure. Again, it goes against the grain of anybody in the legal industry. Failure is certainly not an option, but when it comes to innovating and doing things in new ways and looking at new technologies, it's part and parcel of the path that you walk. And the most important thing there being is just fail fast and respond to it quickly. It's accepted that we're not going to get everything right the first time round, but knowing how you're going to move forward from that, adapt, do things in a different way, and how you're going to respond to that fail is equally as important. And it's having the courage to step forward and say, this is not working, and changing path. So all things that you need to be thinking about. I think if there's one thing to take away, just immerse yourself in the ecosystem. There are startups left, right, and centre. There are hubs that are starting to form across Europe. There are labs that are focused on LawTech. Get in and have those conversations. Be open, be honest, be transparent. Not everybody is looking to sell something. And you can be quite transparent in terms of going in saying you're not necessarily looking to buy, but what you do want to do is understand what's available and understand how you can interact. For startups that are out there, really do become part of that LawTech community. Take advantage of the labs that are popping up across the globe. In fact, we have certainly through the Eagle Lab network connections globally to LawTech that is happening all around the world, and it's fascinating to see what is going on and learning from each other, and also finding out how you can start to work with maybe other startups to bolster the products that you're working on. Network, finding people. You never know where the next conversation will take you. It is always going to be time well spent. Be ready for the long sales cycle that there is certainly within law firms and within in-house legal functions. Things do not happen necessarily as quickly as they need to. There's plenty of hurdles to overcome. Thinking about things like supplier control obligations. So what a firm requires from a cybersecurity perspective. Data privacy is something that we talk an awful lot about, particularly within finance, a heavily regulated industry. There's lots of people watching where data is going and how it's being managed. GDPR is just one thing, but that is something that's going to certainly be a hurdle in terms of how you manage things. If there's one thing, again, to make sure that you're always questioning yourself. I've talked about building your network, but it's really about making sure that you are talking to the right people. Have that open, honest, transparent conversation. People will get very excited about what you're talking about, but can they do more with it? If you think about, certainly from our perspective within Barclays, if you wanted to bring a product into the in-house legal function, there's a lot of people that you need to talk to. There's going to be the champion for your product that understands how it's going to benefit them, how it's going to work for them, how they could be using it. But then you're also going to have to talk to the CFO or the COO who's sat holding the purse strings. They clearly have a view as to where that money is getting spent. You also need to think about the change and transformation teams or the technology part of the firm that is going to be thinking about how to implement and integrate the tools you're working with. And all of those people have got a big part to play. So there's plenty of information in there. I think ultimately what I'm saying is the LawTech ecosystem is an exciting one. There is plenty that is happening at the moment, and there's a strong trajectory. LawTech is coming into the industry and is bringing with it great efficiencies, greater ways of doing things. It's offering the ability to deliver services in a different, more effective and more efficient way, something that is more important now than ever it was before. But you've got a real opportunity by throwing yourself into that ecosystem, because by having those conversations, you'll ultimately be able to help us to progress. But for you, get products that are more applicable more quickly and earlier in the path of your innovation journey. There is plenty to be said for giving startups the opportunity to run proof of concept, to test the ideas that they have. Sometimes they just want to have access to smart lawyers that can really help to understand the processes that we're working on, so that we can really develop some great solutions. So do use the opportunity, use the network that you'll get from the sessions that you're seeing throughout all of this event, and certainly the people that you're talking to. I'm very happy to be contacted, and we're always happy to talk about LawTech and new solutions. So please do get in touch. The Barclays labs have got a site, labs.uk.barclays/LawTech. Also look at things like TechNation. There's plenty happening in the UK, and we're very much looking at how we can work with more people to do more and really advance technology for LawTech.